Hey guys, welcome to the very first video on this account. I want to go over the cons of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. If no one knows that game, it's made by Gearbox Studios. They've made games like Borderlands 1, 2, pre-sequel, 3, Battleborn, some titles. I want to first talk about the cons, and then there will be a later video talking about the pros. First off, there is not enough content. There is barely any content, with only 13 to 20 hours of content, when the other games had so much more. Like, for a prime example of how long games could be, Borderlands 2 had at least 32 more hours of content. That is nuts. Like, there is so much more content in Borderlands 2 than there is in any other game in the franchise. Which leads to actually the next con. The next con on the list is how Wonderlands would never be able to hit the same feeling as Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2 had so much more work put into it and just so much better just gameplay and everything that Wonderlands can really never compare to it. Another thing that to add on to it is that the engine that they use in Borderlands 2 compared to Borderlands 3 and Wonderlands. The engine in Wonderlands and the engine in Borderlands 3 is basically the same engine. And the difference is that it's not as good as the engine used for Borderlands 2. It's not the same, doesn't feel the same, and it's not really the greatest like the other ones came up to be. Now this actually leads to the last con, for this video at least, is the lack of good DLC. For once again bringing up Borderlands 2, they had so many more DLCs. They had the Headhunters, for example, they had Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon's Keep, they had like the Peak, they had like all those really good DLC, like the Torg DLC. They had much more like really story revealing DLCs. As in Wonderlands, you basically just have another version of the Chaos Chamber, which is not really adding any more story with it or anything. It's basically the exact same thing. And it's really annoying because there's not enough story compact with it. There's really not enough like good gameplay even when it comes to DLCs. Borderlands 2 DLCs had a lot more impact, had a lot more like character, a lot more better things, but when it came to Wonderlands, it's just more chaos chambers. It's just more wave after wave of enemies, and it doesn't really give you like barely any better loot or anything. Because even on my character I have, which is a spell shot mixed with the Berserker at the moment when I changed it, I can barely get any good loot even, because it's like the DLC doesn't really compact you enough with good items. So it really confused me when I bought that DLC, and when I was trying it out, it's just more chaos chambers. And it doesn't really add much to the game like Borderlands 2 did.